Hi traders, it's Ryan from leprivatebanker.com. Just going to do a quick recap here for crude oil and gold. I'm going to start off with gold today, as this is the market I was focusing on. There was some trades on crude oil, but just was trading gold mainly today. So just looking at what's happened here. I mean, new week. I said last week that we clearly had broken out of the price consolidation that we had been in, and we had seen this massive, nice engulfing selling bar to the downside. The market kind of completed its destination. I've been talking about this also the last couple of weeks, that we were trading in this upper distribution from the 1275s to the 1310s roughly, and with reversions back to the 92s. As you can see, this is a heavy volume area, and the market just kept rotating from one extreme to the mean. We've clearly broken out now, and we have been testing these lower levels, and today we just saw a balanced rotation day, two-way trade. We were basically just holding the low of last week's trade, and we just filled in some distribution in this LVN, low volume node area, and you can clearly see that holding the point of control, this 1240s. I did say that once we broke away from this area, the destination was the 1240s, and we've completed that mission now. So where this market continues to move from here is depends on the people trading it and their point of views. But we could see some balance in this area, or we could just continue to see elongation and an imbalance to the sell side as the market continues to rotate down. This was a previous market. This is a complete new market now. Obviously we've broken out, and we've completely seen a complete change in the perception of value now. I mean, before the market was clearly had a trading range, we clearly had value, we clearly had extremes to work with. Now the market has broken out, and we're in price exploration mode until we start to form a new balance area and a new trading range where traders perceive price and value, and their views come together. Until then we just continue to trade off of market generated information. So at the moment we have been selling off, and this was last week's value. So you can see the whole of last week we just saw an imbalance to the sell side, and value price was rejecting value all the way down, and we closed the week out imbalanced. So this week we've opened up below the previous value area, and the first thing the market did is came up and tested this previous value area. Rejection, and we see the market rotate back down to the lows. We still it was quite a balanced day, rotational two-way trade, but we could clearly see some visual areas here. So as we can see on the TPOs, we can see just balance, two-way trade in the market. So on today you could have been a buyer and a seller depending on how you wanted to play the market. I approached the market today trying to be a buyer. I mean, I knew until we broke below the previous lows and we see exception below and we see price exploration and a breakout, that this was a good support area to lean off of. So what I started to do as the market started to come and rotate with two-way trade is I started to buy Vwap with a target back to the mean, and I was possibly looking for the value area high, but with the higher time frame context, the value area, I got most of my my trade scaled off into the mean, and as we came back into balance I just exited the trade. We also can see that we were holding last quarter's value area low. I mean, first of all, this becomes support, and we see a clean breakout, and what was support now becomes overhead resistance. So this 1250s is a very important area, and if we actually do look at today on the footprint chart, we can see that as the market came up and spiked up into this area, there's a huge accumulation of orders resting here, and that was right into the value area low from last week. So at the moment, it does look that does look like we might continue to break down further here, but until we do so, we're just going to lean off the extremes and support and resistance. So again, this is a support area and this is resistance, and today was very balanced. So tomorrow, if we open back up inside value, then we could continue to see two-way trade back in the market until we break out, and we will fade the extremes. If we open gap out, gap down, we go with the breakout, or we take a mean reversion back to the previous value, depending on what the market's telling us. The 5 exponential moving average on the daily is playing catch up with price here, and this will continue to provide overhead resistance to lean off of for the fast time frame sellers. So until this starts to flatten out and price starts to trade above it, then we continue to look to sell this market, as the market is continuing to one time frame down. We can see on the 240 minute candlesticks that we are seeing some balance starting to come into the market. I mean, here was the initial breakout, and we saw a little bit of balance came in, and since then we've just been grinding down, and we are starting to see some overlapping candlesticks now, showing that balance is starting to come back into the market. This is just a macro balance area, so this is what will happen. The market will break out, it will trend down, and on the way it will stop, pause, balance as the market catches its breath, and it will continue to break out. This is a typical breakout market. As the market becomes more balanced, then we start to see overlapping balance areas as the market starts to form a bottom, as buyers start to step in and the sellers exhaust themselves, and then a new market is created where we see balance areas start to come into play. This market is not showing that, so we are going to continue to lean off the intraday time frame until we see change. Just going to cover crude oil quickly now and what we saw on the day. So what I was looking at off of the open was depending on where we opened today. So we opened just below the previous day's point of control. So what I was looking to do off the open was sell this straight off of the open with a stop above the previous day's value, Friday's value. We already had imbalance on the Globex session, and as you can see here, we've seen imbalance to the sell side, and this is where we opened at 9 o'clock, right at the edge of value, inside value. So you could have just sold this market with a stop above value and the point of control and the developing mean, like I said. From off the open, we see the sell-off down to the previous day's range, and we saw balanced two-way trade come back into the market as value got caught up with price. We see a spike down and then a range expansion and hit the first IB extension, and then we see a reversion to the mean. We did see quite a poor low put into place today into the 102.10s, which is currently the 20 exponential moving average on the daily. There is other support areas here from previous composites, so it's a mean composite area. So this was support, but it does look like we have more business to be done down here as we have no excess into this low. We are starting to push back into the quarterly and into the year value area high now, so it would be obvious to start finding support in this area, and depending on how we play out, we could see a new year back adjusted high put in, or we could start to auction back down to look for more buyers. If we look at the weekly bracket, we clearly closed outside of the weekly bracket, and then we formed a double top area that's going to be for support. We have come down to the 5 exponential moving average on the weekly, and we are inside this bracket, so we could see a destination trade play out back down to 99s before we try to auction higher, or we see the next context develop in this market. Currently we have rejected last week's value. We did see 2 weeks of overlapping value here, and we have started to reject this value. We saw an imbalance off the open, and we've seen a reversion back to the mean, so depending on how we open tomorrow and where we open depends on how we continue to tackle this market. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and good luck and catch you all tomorrow. Goodbye.